Says we've got 4 people in here. Throw up some comments if y'all are in the house. I'll give y'all some shout outs. 4 people are showing. No thumbs up yet, but of course I just kicked it off. So we will see when they start pouring in here. Might have to wait till 7 to officially kick off the comments. I just want to jump on a little early. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Hopefully y'all can hear me and everything. Let me know if you can. But I just figured we would do the normal Wednesday chat, so y'all can bring questions and comments. We can even talk about cars and everything, whatever y'all want to talk about. How's it going, Venom? How are you? Don't recognize your name, but welcome to the channel. Hello, Unit 4. Yep, I thought we got some, it rained here a little bit today, and it's starting to look a little darker than normal time. Hello, Pistol Pete, how are you? Hope everyone is doing well. Dirt Track is in the house. Yep, there are some people getting some pretty bad weather. So I got that good old PT in the morning. Hello, Dennis. Dennis, how are you, sir? Feeling good. Working on the cane now. Hello, DB, how are you? Trying to focus more on the cane, walking with the cane, and, you know, kind of having less leaning on it. And cheers, everyone. We got some Bullet Bourbon this evening. First drink of the evening. No, Pistol Pete, I'm just getting uglier. Oh, bad storms in Indiana. Hello, Boomer. Yeah, y'all be careful. In those flat areas, you know, it tends to stir up those tornadoes too. No, I haven't lost more weight. I've actually gained some, you know, when I had the surgery. Hello, Armsman, how are you? So I've gained some. I mean, I want to lose more, but I'm not doing horrible. I'm just not eating the perfect things. I need a nice orange suit and hat to match your pimp cane. Yeah, my cane is not orange. It's actually bronze. It's like a copper bronze. Hello, Lake Ozark guy. How are you? But an Eman trigger tech on a Shadow 2 feels kind of cheap. Anyone know of a better flatty trigger for the Shadow 2? CZ, or what is it? CZ Customs has one. Oh, there's a lot of people who run not the Trigger Tech. What is the name of that one? Cajun Gunworks has a trigger. I've got it in my 97B, and it's kind of flat. I'm not running a single action. I kept it single action, double action, but it's a Cajun Gunworks. It's called the Flatty, but it's not like a flat trigger. It's just flatter than the standard Shadow 2 trigger, and I like it a lot. Hello, Scott. How are you, brother? Yeah, exactly. Like Pistol Pete says, CZ Customs or Cajun Gunworks. Dennis said he ordered the CR920XP Armsman holster. That's cool. Yeah, I do prefer a flatter trigger. Of course, not the PO1 curve trigger. I can't hang with that. That drives me crazy. But the stock Shadow 2 trigger doesn't bother me. The way it's contoured, or the Shadow 2 compact trigger doesn't bother me either. Yeah, Scott, I've seen the stuff for the P10 on the HB Industries, but I've never seen anything. I had their trigger in my Scorpion, but I've never seen anything for the Shadow, that they had anything for the Shadow. Damn, that bourbon actually tastes pretty good. I haven't drank anything since last Wednesday. And we've got my daughter's birthday coming up, so we'll be celebrating it this weekend, and so the grandbaby's coming over. So, because in their house, they've got their second story is where they, the kitchen and all their area up there, and that's where the baby is dominantly. So, and their staircase is really steep and a lot of stairs. So I haven't been excited about climbing it. So they're coming over here for her birthday. So we're going to celebrate it and get to have the grandkid over. So I'm excited about that. Hello, Taylor. How are you? Yeah, I'm planning on making the updates for all the bags. For the Lynx Defense bags, but man, I've been out of pocket. It probably has been a while since you've been on because I haven't seen you jump into the chats, but I tore my leg up pretty bad, so I've kind of been out of commission for 3.5 months now, but I do want to go shoot. The clutch fits fine in the Concorde. In the smaller pistol bags, it's a little wide, but it does fit in the Concorde easily. So, this way or sideways, of course. But I have them running this way in the Concorde. So, but that's the largest bag. I mean, I like the clutch bags. They work fantastic. So I have no issues with them, and I do use them. I have my Staccato P with the comp and an SRO in one of them, and I can even put it in the Armsman holster and put the holster and the Staccato P with the comp in the clutch bag and zip it up, so it does fit well. Scott says, I ordered the SAR K2 and 45 from PSA under $400. They have some smoking deals on them right now. Yeah, everybody's having deals, but that's cool, man. Always good to have a 45 in the house. Unit 4 says, oh, the local shop has a raffle for the Shadow 2 Compact, $20, and only 70 tickets. Man, I would, yeah, I'd buy a couple of those. I mean, hell, you got a better chance of winning the lottery. But yeah, for shit, 40 or $60, that probably, it's probably going to recoup the cost of the gun, but if it's going to even a charity or something, I would definitely give. Hello, Lynn Holt. How are you doing, sir? U.S. Navy vets in the house. I appreciate y'all. I can't see your faces, but I'm sure y'all are looking spiffy this evening as well. Yep, Armsman's right. Brace yourself for some imported increases. We're supposedly going to get it from Holosun. I'm sure we're going to get it from a lot of, maybe flashlights. Even though the parts are imported over here and then they're assembled like with Streamlight and stuff like that, like the circuit boards are from overseas, but we could see some of that. But the way that the gun guns are going now, it might kind of be a wash. So it just depends. I mean, it's not just with guns, cars. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going to be affected. Taylor Brown says, been busy with work, just happened to make it on tonight. I'll try to watch your live stream when I can here lately. It's been the day after they're posted. Thanks, I appreciate you, brother. But yeah, Taylor, like I said, those bags are good to go. I've got 3 Lynx pistol bags, and I have probably 5 or 6 rifle bags and PDW bags, and everything Lynx makes is awesome. I haven't had one problem with anything, and the clutches are nice. All of his stuff is really, really nice quality. So I've never had an issue like I have with some imported rifle bags. Zippers break. I mean, Velcro peels off. I mean, it's just, I don't even mess with that shit anymore. And I know that his bags are expensive. I get that all the time. Oh my God, I could buy 3 or 4 Chinese bags for this. But, it's kind of buy once, cry once. And I've had brand new bags, Chinese cheaper bags, Dracos, stuff like that I've bought, and they haven't even lasted 3 or 4 months. The way I use them, I don't baby my stuff. I put rifles in them. I rip them open. I grab the zippers like a man. I mean, I'm not daintying them, and I shouldn't have to. So that's why I just want to get quality stuff. But not everybody's going to buy expensive stuff. I totally get it. Yeah, Unit 4. Everyone hit that thumbs up. We got 27 in here and only 7 thumbs up. Noah Simmons, welcome. I haven't seen your name before, but he said, I just bought an Arrow upper receiver from Brownells. I hope it comes. If you got it from Brownells and it showed in stock, you probably are going to get it, I would say, rather quickly, unless it's a drop ship from Arrow. But if it showed in stock, Brownells is usually pretty good about getting that to you. If you order direct from Arrow, that's where there could be a problem. And I don't have any problem with Arrow lowers. I really don't have a lot of experience with their uppers, but Arrow lowers, I have, God, I think I have like 4 or 5 of them. I mean, they're great. I have no issues with them at all. Hello, Norwood. How are you, sir? If it's coming from Brownells, you shouldn't have a problem. Yeah, that's what I was saying. If it's only stuff directly shipping, yes, exactly. Yep, Scott and I are on the same page. Yeah, Pistol Pete, and I've even said this in videos. Pistol Pete saying I've tried to buy more made in the USA products. It's hard to do. I'm trying harder now. Yeah, I mean, I've said that numerous times in videos, but I mean, the phone that I'm on now, the computers that we use, hell, even washing machines, dryers, refrigerators. I mean, there's just so much stuff. And, I've tried to buy like Maytag and all these different things. And it's like, or hey, they US made. Oh, well, half of it's made overseas. I do buy domestic vehicles. However, there's some of those parts that are made in Canada. There's some of those parts that are made in Mexico. There's some of those parts that are made elsewhere that go on that vehicle, even if it's, a domestic vehicle. So, I mean, with flashlights and dots and all this other stuff, it is hard. It's very hard, but, you know, we do try to do the best we can. So, I get it. Hello, Carly. How are you? Don't recognize you, but well, you're welcome in any time. Yeah, like I said, if you see it and it shows in stock with Brownells or Primary Arms or PSA or something like that, you're usually pretty good to go. I'll tell you what, one that will bait and switch your ass is it starts with an O and it ends with a P, or the second name is a P. Well, I'll just say it, OpticsPlanet. Man, they have burned me. And just so you know, I'm an affiliate for OpticsPlanet and have been forever. I don't even recommend them. Y'all have never heard me talk about them. I have a code, I have all that other shit. I do not recommend them. I've been burned with them personally buying shit probably 3 or 4 times. And I know there's a lot of people that push their codes and that's cool. But if I don't know if they're just getting stuff from them to show on the channels or they're literally buying stuff. But I was buying stuff before I was even an affiliate with them, and they reached out to me and said, hey, will you be an affiliate? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I bought something, shortly after that. And it was one of those where, they pretend like it's in stock, and then you press the button, and then you look at it, and it's like, oh, we're going to drop ship it to you, or we're going to get it from the manufacturer. So now, if you go onto OpticsPlanet, you need to go over to the right and tap the button to see if it's in stock. And I promise you, if it's an in-demand thing, it's never in stock. So don't let them burn you. Just be aware. Arsman said had the cart full of some Temu items, but didn't press the button. Too late now. Lynn said it's going to take time for the full impact of the tariffs to be felt in today's world. The message will be skies falling. Exactly. And it will eventually get passed down to us. Some of it will. Even if the importers buy product correctly, they could still, depending on what their profit margins are, they could still build that. And just so you know, with my company, we build a ton of stuff in the US, a ton of stuff. But we actually do have some of the buildings that we own are overseas. We have, we have like 65 facilities, and some of them are overseas in other countries. So, but we've already accounted for that. So there will be some tariffs on some of the stuff coming in, which we're aware of. And, we've accounted for that, pre-accounted for that. Norwood says, Big J, I got the new TAC Pro from Bull. Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean, they're great guns. I have nothing against Bull. They are excellent guns. And now that they've gone full non-MIM, that's even better. And like I said, I would own them. I have no issues with them at all. The only thing that I don't like is the proprietary magazines, because I have other I have other 2011/1911 double stacks. I call them all 2011s. That's the only thing that sucks. But if you're not heavily invested in 2011s and you don't have freaking 60 mags, then Bull Armory is a great pistol. So no hate there at all. Scott says, I saw KE Arms just releasing a tungsten infused. What would Stoner do, A or lower? Yeah, there we go. Cool. Alec Baldwin's a PUD. So it looks like, yeah, y'all get them. Armsman's blasting some people out of here. That's perfectly fine. That's funny. A bunch of foreign automotive cars, Toyotas, Kias, Hyundais, etc., all made in the U.S. where U.S. made parts. Yeah, well, and they have overseas, or they have American facilities, which is great. Even Toyota, of course, in San Antonio and Frisco. But yeah, a lot of the parts come from overseas. But, and that's what I'm saying. I think when it really comes down to breaking things down, I think you have to account if they're already over here also. Manufacturing, hopefully they're taking that into account as well. Hello, John. How are you? There you go. There's Lake Ozark guy says OpticsPlanet also burned me. Scott says I've never gotten burned by OpticsPlanet, but I have heard plenty of horror stories. Yeah, like I said, I can't recommend them. And if y'all go back to any of my videos, I have never, ever, ever put a code for OP on any of my videos, and I just won't. I hope y'all understand and know me by now. If it's something that I don't truly, truly believe in and have really, really used and had great service, I won't recommend them, because I don't want y'all to get burned. I don't want to give you my code and then somebody reach out and say, "Oh man, they screwed me. It took 3 months or whatever." I don't want any of that bullshit coming back on me. So there's a lot of companies I don't recommend. Unit Force has been watching vids about vehicle bank repos going up sharply. I wish we could get a crack at those before the dealers scoop them up. If you have a dealer's license, I don't have a dealer license anymore. I used to, but I still have access to the auctions. I have tons of friends and people that I deal with where I could go to the auctions and purchase them up before they hit the dealers. But right now, if you get a Hellcat or TRX or whatever, and if people know they're going to get repoed, they usually go out and just tear the shit out of them. I'm not saying everybody, but there are some. But yeah, you can get some, pretty decent deals. I used to buy a lot of cars at auctions back in the day. Rich B says, same's here with OpticsPlanet. Got me once, never again. Yep. Hello, Pranic. How are you, brother? Taylor says, my next Lynx Defense is definitely going to be the new double rifle bag they've been working on. Love the Concord. Yeah, I've got the double rifle bag. I think I have two of them. I have a video, I think, or post on them. I've got I've got a tricked out tiger stripe color. Or I'm sorry, let me back up. I only have one of the double rifle bag, and it is the OD green one. Yeah, it's a super nice bag. Brannick says same on my OpticsPlanet. Yeah. Carly just ordered a Vortex Defender CCW 6 MOA. I got 6 MOAs since I have a bit of astigmatism and bad eyes. I saw Modern Samurai sights in at 10 yards with a red dot. That was several years ago. Yeah, a lot of people do 10. I do 15. That's just kind of my little thing. I mean, you know, a lot of people, some people will do 25, but I kind of split the difference at 15. You know, and I'll get a rough sight at 7 and then go to 15, and then after that I'm good. So that's kind of how I do it, but everybody can do it differently. I don't really do them at 25 because that's where it comes to play with I have dual astigmatism as well, and I prefer the small dots because they bloom with my astigmatism much bigger. So I don't want to start out with a 6 because it would probably turn into a 10 or a 12 or whatever. So I tend to go with the 2s to the 2 5s, and I think they kind of balloon up to like maybe a 4. But well, put it this way, I can turn the intensity up and I can bloom it. I know that's not what you should do, but I can bloom it and make it much bigger, but I can't take a bigger dot and bloom it or knock it down. So that's why I try to stay with these smaller dots. Lynn Holt says, I try to sight in a red dot between 12 and 15 yards. A little elevation is all that's needed. Then lots of different views on the subject. Correct. Like I said, everybody's going to have what they choose, and there's not a wrong or right answer for that particular person. Because some people can only see to 10 yards or 12 yards or whatever, so I get it. I'm not the eagle eye or anything at 25 yards, but I have taken my dot to 25 plus, and usually pretty good. So, hello, Trigger Bar. Trigger Bar's in the house. He is a channel member, and I appreciate him being a channel member. I had a lot of people ask me about the channel membership, but Trigger Bar is the only one that signed up, which is cool. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I appreciate it. Ooh, getting some little... this is the first time I've seen that. There's like little cheers things coming up. I appreciate that. John Elberg says, I am good. I used to be a CZ Shadow 2. I have a new phone and somehow lost my name. Okay, cool. All right. There we go. Yep, I remember CZ Shadow 2. Okay, cool. Pistol Pete says, use your code with lock grips again. Awesome, man. Hey, I see some hearts flying too. That's nice. Thank you, people, our family. I appreciate it. I appreciate you using the lock code. And just so y'all know, the lock code does officially help me. So I do get a percentage of that. There's a lot of codes I don't get a percentage with. But I still ask companies that I believe in to give y'all codes, and they do. Ones that I truly believe in, like Impact Machine, Armsman, holsters, and lock grips. But, I was buying lock grips personally before I was ever working with them. So, highly, highly recommend them. True believer in them. Anything I could put grips on that they make, they've got lock grips on them. Pistol Pete says, with your Holosun 507C, do you use the dot only? Yes, I only use the dot. I've played around with the other ones, and it's not bad, but, and just remember, when I got that, shortly after that, then I had the injury. So I still want to put more time behind it where I can use the other reticles. Just so you know, Pistol Pete, I don't have a lot of time with the other reticles. I only have time with the single dot. So I will spend some time with the other dots to see what I think about them or the other reticle options. But I mean, the 507C to me, the competition is definitely a pretty sweet dot. I really, really do like it. I have a buddy of mine, and we go back and forth, and y'all know who he is, or well, I'm not going to say his name, but he loves the Delta Point Pro footprint. I hate the Delta Point Pro footprint. So he likes the Vortexes, and he has the Holosun C as well, competition. But I have so many guns that are milled for RMRs, and that's why I really do like the Holosun 507 competition. But I have so many, and I even have the Holosun original 507C, which was like the RMR type, and I still really enjoy those. But that 507 competition is pretty legit. If you want a big window dot, it's pretty awesome. Trigger Bar says, have you decided which gun you are shooting when you get to return to the range? First gun. I've got, I'll just tell you the three that I really, really, really want to shoot. So I'm taking these three to the first range session. I'm taking the Shadow Systems CR920 XP. I'm taking it for sure. I'm taking the Shadow 2 Compact for sure. And I'm taking the Staccato C2 for sure. So those are the first three I'm taking with me. Now, which one I physically pull out of the bag and shoot first, I don't know. I mean, those are the three pistols that I really, really want to take and shoot first. So I'm throwing them in the bag, and those will be the first three to go that I get to shoot. But great question, Trigger Bar, because I don't know if it was you or somebody asked me that before, and I only had two, but yeah, it's going to be those three. Pistol Pete says I'm dot only with the 507C. I think that's the way it's going to stay with me, honestly, Pistol Pete, but I am wanting to kind of try the other ones and play around with them. Hello, Clyde. How are you? Lynn Holt says, I have a 507C ACSS. I really like the Chevron reticle a lot. Yeah, and I have that dot too. It's on my CZ P10C with the comp, the orange and gray and black one. And I really do like that dot as well. I don't really use the big ring. It's turned on, but I don't really ever see it. Oh, and I was talking to a buddy again today, and I want to share this one more time with anybody that's dot curious, because this was my bugaboo at first when I first got into dots on pistols. I was turtling my head down and doing all that goofy crap, and I know that happens, and probably in some videos you might see me still kind of try to do it. But one thing that helped me is if I pull the gun up and the back plate, I don't care what gun it is. If it's a hammer gun, it's the freaking hammer. If it's a Glock, it's the back plate. If it's a CZ, it's the back plate. CZ P10, I mean, striker fire. Or if it's a hammer gun, it's the hammer. But when you throw it up there, keep that hammer or the back plate right at the tip of your nose. Because if you're having problems finding the window and you're kind of wiggling it around and doing weird stuff on your draw, always pull it straight up to where your nose is at the back plate, and you will always see the dot. I got that from Aaron Cowan a long time ago, and it really changed the game for me. And it's just burned into my brain. That is probably the best tip I think I ever got. And he probably did that video it's got to be maybe 4 years ago, 3 or 4 or longer. I don't know. But when he started talking about, just have the back plate at your nose and you will always see the dot, I'm like, holy crap, he's right. It works. So if you're having problems searching for the dot, or you're can't find it on the draw, try that. It worked for me. It's not my tip, it's his tip, so I'm giving him credit, but it really worked. Let me catch back up here. Sorry about that. I see Shadow Systems is still getting a lot of hate on social media. Yeah, I see that too, Armsman. And man, I've seen people where they buy one and then it says it in the owner's manual, and I know that they've talked about it a lot if the people who buy the Shadow Systems follow them, but they say to do 124 NATO or at least 124, not necessarily NATO, but don't do 115. And, you know, I started out with 124 to break mine in and literally only had one jam, and it was the first bullet. Everything is on tape, on video. Y'all can watch it. And that's the only thing I ever had. I mean, that was my break in, but I ran all the 124 through it. Not, I didn't even have to go 200 rounds. I think I ran, but I did bring, let me rephrase that. I brought 200 rounds of 124, a box of 200 rounds, that Browning. And I ran every bit of it through it that day. But after that, I mean, on that same day, I ran 115 grain and it ran it fine. But 115 grain, man, it's so across the board. You get weak ass shit, reman shit. I mean, some of that stuff is just flat garbage. So, um, you know, I'm not saying that the people are, you know, doing it incorrectly, but I have seen where people take those guns right to the range and they got some janky ass 115. So they're not really giving the gun a chance. But, you know, I don't know if they're doing it for click views. I don't know, but it specifically says it. So it's kind of like, and also if you're running comp guns, and I have a lot of comp guns, they do run better uh, with 124. But I'll tell you this, with 115, I get a lot of flames because you've got less bullet and more gunpowder. So I can get some pretty good flames with 115 over the 124 if you're really wanting to pump out some flames. And if you're wanting to really push some gas, sometimes the 115 will push it out. So, but every gun is different. So I don't look at it as a negative. You know, and honestly, I carry 124 HSTs. So I do prefer to shoot 124 in a practice round because it's comparable to what I carry. But I have a ton of 115 too. But I just don't expect much for it. And I don't buy cheap ass Reman 115. You know, I do try to get Federal and CCI and Cellar and Bellet, stuff like that. I try to get some of the better stuff. Clyde, I am drinking Bullet Bourbon tonight. Just inexpensive Bullet, non-rye, or not the green one, but the orange one. I like it better. And it's good stuff. I mean, it's not expensive. And as far as my whiskey and bourbon, I have some expensive bourbons and whiskeys, but I don't have the collection. I think I talked about it last week. I don't have near the collection I used to have because I was buying shit just to buy it and test it out, even before, you know, I was talking about whiskey. And it just got to be where it was just turning into a monotonous mess. So, you know, I gave a lot of it away. And I really only buy what I drink now, which is dominantly Bullet, um, Buffalo Trace. I really like, those are my two go-tos. When I can find Buffalo Trace, it's hard to find it. I like Basil Hayden's. That's a go-to also. But it's really Bullet, Buffalo Trace, and Basil Hayden's. But I have Blanton's. I have some, you know, more expensive stuff, but I just don't drink it a lot. I even have some Yellowstone, which is not expensive. I have some Whistle Pig, which is kind of expensive. They have different tiers. But my common drink is Bullet, Buffalo Trace, or Basil Hayden's. Just being honest with you. And it's dominantly Buffalo Trace is probably my favorite. So I'm not the little persnickety guy like I used to think I was. Pistol Pete says the Shadow 2 Compact is an anomaly. Shoots better than it seems like it should. Yes, it's an incredible gun. Super accurate and super. I mean, honestly, I have a comparison where I shot the Shadow 2 Compact versus my full size Shadow 2. It's almost the same freaking groups. So it's crazy. I mean, the gun is way more accurate than I am. Armsman says I was on a multi-reticle phase for a bit. At the end, I found I prefer just a dot. I'm just a dot guy also. Hey, what's up, Harry's Holsters? How are you, man? Hope you're doing well, sir. Ranger says, hey, Big J, like to it, but made it. Hope your recovery is going good. Yeah, it's going well, man. I really appreciate it. Lynn Holt said, I did pick up a few weeks ago the RMR HD. It is a very crisp, clean picture. I like the reticle. Can be adjusted with the ring, dim, dot bright, over, or reverse. Yeah. I mean, I've heard really good things about the RMR HD. I don't own one personally, so I can't speak. I've looked at it at the gun store, um, and it looked nice, but that was in a gun store. Just picked it up and kind of looked through it. But I haven't tried it on a gun or anything like that. Don't have any true personal experience with it other than just looking at it through the store or at the store. But I mean, Trijicon makes good stuff, so I never thought it would be an inferior dot. It is very expensive though. Lake Ozark guy says, I think the backplate and the nose trick also works for iron sights. Yeah, but iron sights, I've never had to search for an iron sight. But when I first got into dots, I was kind of searching for the dot. And that's where the nose to the backplate really helped with that. To catch back up here. I love my Blazer. Yeah, Blazer's not bad. Now, this is one thing. I shoot a lot of comped guns, and I don't care, y'all know how I am, but Blazer says they recommend not to use in comped guns or ported guns, but I've still done it. And I've had some sparks and crazy shit fly out of the comps before. I even have it on video. I've got like chunks of shit flying out of the comps, and you can see it on video, but it is what it is. Harry's Holster says, with week 115, my CR 920, the slide didn't even move back on the first round after a box of 124 NATO. It's great. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier, Harry. Yeah, I think you run 124, you're good to go. But now I can run 115. I'm just saying for the initial break-in. Yep, Armsman is saying, I think people don't realize how a comp can change a firearm. They attempt to run all ammo. And I get it. And I understand that people want to run 115 because it's less expensive and stuff like that. But when you run flat out reman complete garbage and expect something to work, man, shame on you. Shame on you. I mean, that tells me, and I'm not hating on anybody because I know that everybody's different, but, if that's your first comp gun and you're just running a bunch of bullshit through it, but your other guns run fine, your 5 inches runs good compared to your 3.5-inch gun, that's a whole different animal. I mean, you're creating more velocity and all this other stuff, and you don't have a comp pouring out or a comp or a ports, dumping a bunch of energy. I mean, it's a different animal, and a lot of people don't realize it. They just think it's going to run on anything. It's kind of like if you have a car, a high performance car, let's just say that's set up for alcohol. Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there because I've ran those before. And you try to run some bullshit, 87 octane in it. It's going to, if it even runs, it's going to run like dog shit. Kind of the same thing with a gun. I mean, you're not going to take a Ferrari and run frickin', bullshit oil and bullshit gas through it. You're just, you shouldn't. Pistol Pete says some of the ammo manufacturers have changed their trays to prevent damage from shipping and causing setbacks in the rounds. Yeah, and I haven't really seen setback rounds in a while. But when you're dealing with some reman stuff, and I'm not saying you should never shoot reman, that's not what I'm talking about, but I'm just saying there's less QC there, and there is bad QC on some factory rounds, don't get me wrong. But if you're getting the boxes, just pull them open, and I've done this before. Pull them open, I've taken all of the boxes, I've laid them on the trays on my stainless steel table, and I've glanced across them to see if any of them look low or high, and then I'll dump them in my ammo can. And another thing you always want to do, I will stress this because I have ammo cans that'll hold, I've got monster ammo cans that'll hold 5,000 rounds if I want them to. It's just I can't lift them after you do that. But when I think that they're pretty good, I throw them in there. But I cut every lot tag off the boxes, these separate boxes. I cut every lot number off, put them all together and I staple them, and then I have the main tag that says, you know, CCI 124 grain. Then I will staple that on the top, and then I throw it in the ammo can, so I have every lot number for every freaking box that I've thrown in there. So if anything ever comes up and my gun blows up or something happens, I've got every freaking lot number and I know what ammo brand it is. And I do that specifically, and I don't have an ammo can right here. I mean, I've got them on the shelf right there, but that I have readily available. But I've done videos where I'm showing, you know, me opening up ammo cans and pulling shit out, and you can see the whole stack of freaking lot numbers. I mean, that's just very critical. Have I ever had to use it? Yes. There's probably it was before I was doing YouTube. I actually had to go back to a lot number because I had a problem, and it was Blazer, and I had some bad rounds, and I said, hey, I bought 1,000 rounds. It's one of these lot numbers. I don't know which one it came out of, but here's every freaking box I bought. Here's all the lot numbers. I gave them to the person on the phone. They put them all down, and they sent me what was it, 300 rounds? They sent me 300 rounds to compensate for it. It didn't blow the gun up. They just wouldn't load. They wouldn't load into the feed ramp. They were bulged. It was, you know, probably set back, but yeah, always keep your lot numbers. Harry Solster says Sig Macro is still probably the best comped gun for the most people because it's so forgiving with all the ammo. I would agree with that. And I mean, it's widely sold. We know that. Pranic says, I love the macro. Ranger says, only shoot 124. Best of the three, in my opinion. And that's kind of what I look at, especially even as far as defense ammo. You got 115, 124, and 147. I kind of go towards the 124 route because it's kind of the middle of the two. And I've had really good luck with HST 124. I've used Spear Gold Dot, which is a great ammo. I even have other ammo that's been you're not supposed to have anymore. I have quite a bit of it. It's black. The first name is Black, and it second part starts with a T. I'll just leave it at that. I still have a lot of that too, and basically what that is Ranger T, in so many words. But and if y'all guess it, you know, I can say yay or nay. But I don't really carry it anymore. I think it was also a little more hype. The Teflon coating. I think I just gave it away. Salty Bob Ross. Drink it all. Lynn Holt says, I tend to run 124 grain with some preferring 147. I can tell when I'm shooting 115. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You know, I do a mixed bag. I call it a mixed mag is what I call it. But I'll take a bunch of hollow point ammo or FMJ ammo too. So it'll be 115, 124, 147, and I'll put it in a Ziploc bag. Y'all will probably see me do it at the range. And I'll shake it up, and then I'll just sit there while I'm talking on video, and I'm loading the mags. So I'll get some 115, some 124, some 147 in there, and then I'll shoot it through the mag to see if the gun, for one, whatever gun I'm shooting, can feed all of it. And then also how it responds. And some of it will actually even be, now I do this also, that's FMJ, but also do a mixed bag where it's only hollow points. So it'll be 115, 124, 147. And, you know, some of it is, oh gosh, it's, what is it called? Red Hill? I can't even remember the damn name of it. You know, it'll be Sig V Crown, HST, Spear Gold Dot, you know, and I've just mixed a bunch of stuff together, and I'll see if the gun can shoot all those different ammo and how it reacts. And it's cool. I've only had one gun fail, and it failed on a 147. That was a long time ago, though. I don't even know if I still have that gun. but it only failed one time on the 147. And I looked at it to see if it was a bad round, and it wasn't that I could see, but it just, for some reason, wouldn't go up the feed ramp very well. Oh, I remember what it was. It was a freaking Hornady. That's what the bullet was. It was a freaking Hornady with a little polymer tip, which I don't shoot those. And there's a reason I don't shoot them. I had a FNS way back in the day, and I loaded up like 6 mags with the Hornady 124 polymer tip, and I was running it through the gun, mag after mag after mag after mag, and these were, what, 17 round mags? And I was running it mag after mag, and the gun was super hot, and I had the polymer from the old Hornady. It actually melted on the feed ramp, and it jammed the gun up. And I reached out to Hornady, gave them the lot number and all that, and they said, oh, well, you have the older, because I have ammo, but they were like, you have the older polymer. We have a new updated polymer. And they sent me, I think it was like 3 boxes. I think it was like 3 20 or 25 round boxes of the new stuff. But honestly, I think I still have it. I never ran it after that. I'm like, nope, I'm not running that shit. So I think I still have it in one of my ammo boxes. They're newer polymer, but they went away from the older polymer, which apparently I had, and it was melting on a hot gun. And I'm like, do you think you should have told somebody that? Or when they said they do their 50,000 rounds of testing, you think they would have figured that out, but whatever. So I'm just not a Hornady fan. I mean, they make really good rifle ammo, but anything with the polymer tip that they did, I just stayed away from it after that. And that's just a personal opinion. Y'all have probably had really great luck with it. I'm not trying to badmouth them. That was a example of me back in the day with, those boxes I had. Let me catch back up. I'm sure I'm way behind. 147 is typically subsonic. Well, with some. I just, personally, I think 147, I mean, it's soft. I just think it's a little slow. I mean, if somebody's wearing like thick, I don't know, like that's why I just choose 124. I know 147 is perfectly fine. I think the P320 outdoes them all. Yeah, I mean, I've shot the Hunter. I've shot like 150s and stuff like that when I was shooting someone's suppressor. And I know a lot of people buy that stuff, but Ferrari will sue you if, devaluating the brand if you run 87 octane. Hell, if you put a sticker on your Ferrari, I'd never put stickers on cars, but if you ever put a sticker on your Ferrari or paint it a different color or wrap it, they'll put you on the blacklist. Let me catch back up, everyone. Does a squib always make that funny sound? I don't want to say it always makes that funny sound. I've only had a squib personally with a rifle, a 308. I had a squib. And it did make a weird noise, but it sounded different than the pistol version because it was a rifle. But when I heard that noise, I was like, whoa, something's not right. I don't know if it always makes that sound, to be honest with you. Scott says Ranger Tees are the same ammo, Big J, just not black. Yeah, and I knew that. I was just throwing that out there so somebody would know what I was talking about. Didn't have the Teflon coating. And Ranger Tees are, that's a very popular ammo. I know some of our law enforcement carries Ranger Tees. Yeah, you are correct, Clyde Cumberland. You are correct. I still have quite a bit of that ammo. Yeah. Squibs aren't, and that rifle, I would have blown that freaking Lancer up. And it was cheap ass ammo. It was 150 grain 308 that I was shooting through it. And I was like, damn, I'd hate to blow this freaking gun up. That would not be good. Because it's not a cheap gun. Armsman saying Hornady polymer tip is the ammo I've had the most issues with. I stopped using it about 5 years ago. Yeah, maybe it was that same polymer. Who knows? Pistol Pete says squibs are like trying to tell someone that it will feel like when a fish starts to bite your bait. You'll know. Yeah, it's weird, man. Yeah, or a case rupture. Yeah. We got 25 on the chat, 21 thumbs up. So y'all are doing well. Thank y'all. Yeah, you can, Scott, you can have 124 that doesn't meet NATO spec. It's just 124 grain because that's what that Hornady was specifically that I was shooting. It wasn't quite NATO spec. It was still the 124, but it was close enough. Ooh. Yeah, and when you're dealing with squibs and stuff, man, if like I like to shoot fast. I don't shoot slow. Y'all know that. So man, if you're just sitting there hammering on that trigger and you get a squib, you're screwed. I mean, you might think you hear it, but it's probably going to be too late. Because like on that rifle, I'm just going to go and finish this off. I mean, that was good. But yeah, if you're just sitting there like double tapping or showering down on a trigger, and your third one is bad, and you're sitting there mag dumping, it's going to be hard to stop that. You might not hear that weird noise. So, but stuff can happen. Granted, it's funny how people are they're so loyal to a brand because they're invested in it. I guess let's just say that. I don't care if it's a brand of car, gun, optic, flashlight, whatever the hell it is, knife. They're so invested in it because they own so many of them that they don't think they can ever say anything bad about it. I mean, I have bad mouth, expensive guns, cheap guns, expensive cars, expensive trucks. I mean, I've not bad mouth, but I mean, I've always told the truth about it, even if I bought the damn thing. Um, I've had some really expensive, nice trucks, and everything has fault. I don't care if it's a Glock or a SIG or a whatever it is. You can potentially have problems with anything. So this loyalty or this deep, 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 feeling like you own part of the company, if you have a problem with it, let people know. I mean, you don't have to, you're not a shareholder in the company probably, or a part owner, I guess I should say. Because believe it or not, I own stock and I'm not even an electric car guy. And we've got stock in Tesla. So, I mean, and I've taken a hit on it big time, but it is what it is. Let's see here. Let me catch back up. Armsman says I like running NATO ammo for any firearm that has a break-in period. Exactly. Joseph says, how bad is a squib round in a Beretta 92 with an exposed barrel? I mean, it all depends on what's going to happen. You could blow the gun up. You can. What's crazy is there was one. It's on a video. There's one rifle. I can't remember. I want to say it was a 300 Blackout. It might have been a PCC though, but it was a barrel company. I think it's Ballistic Advantage. I think that was if you look up Ballistic Advantage, their YouTube channel, they had a guy, and I think it was a PCC actually. He was had a squib load, and of course it buried in the barrel, and he kept shooting it, and it just kept loading round after round after round, but never blew the barrel. I just couldn't believe that. But the whole freaking barrel is full of rounds. And I'm like, and they cut the barrel open and found that. And I'm like, holy shit. I mean, that was round after round after round. So it's getting closer to your face. That's where I'm going with this. And it didn't blow up. And I'm just like, holy crap. You know, and it could have just been that barrel on that particular day, but I'm like, wow. So to say how bad is it on a 92, you have a lot of what ifs, what brand ammo, what grain ammo, is it a hot load? You know, is it the like a defensive round? I mean, there's all kinds of what ifs. I've never had a squib in a Beretta, and I've owned Berettas, so I don't personally know. But maybe you could Google it or pull up a YouTube video. Maybe it's happened to somebody, and you could see the aftermath. I really don't know. I think it would be better in a hammered fired gun, personally, than a striker fired gun, but I don't know that to be a fact. That's just a guess. Because I think with a hammer fired gun, you know, you maybe have a little bit heavier barrel. You're not dealing with blowing out the extractors and stuff like you could on a striker fire gun, but that's just an opinion. Yeah, and Pistol Pete hit that one on the head there. Len Holt says, agreed, owning the product definitely gives me the right to my opinion. If you hear me talking about things, you should listen for what I don't talk about. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have, you know, if anybody screwed up or if I had an issue with CZ or staccato, I did have an issue with staccato, you know, and I put a video out saying, hey, I had this issue. You know, the frame freaking warped. So that's a big issue. You know, I'm not married to any brand. I like certain brands, but I'm not married to them. So, you know, I've bitched about SIG. Y'all have heard me in the past. You know, I had that issue with staccato. I mean, I just tell it like it is. So I don't, you know, I'm not married to anything. I've had issues with Ford. I've had issues with Chevy. I've had issues with Dodge. Um, you know, performance products in cars. You know, and I'll still kick myself in the butt. I should have started a freaking YouTube channel like I was told about a million times back in the day when I was racing cars and working on cars all the time. Man, I could probably have a serious car channel, but I didn't. I even have, there's a video somewhere of a buddy of mine that filmed. He said he put it on YouTube, but he doesn't. He had the channel, or it's still up on YouTube. But when he got his new phone, he didn't have his password or forgot his password, and he never re-logged in on it. But somewhere out there's a video of me tuning a car, tuning my race car, one of my race cars. It was my 70 CUDA. I was tuning a race car, and then he filmed me taking off from the line. This was at Texas, or where was it? In Ennis. I was at the Ennis, what was it? God, the quarter-mile track in Ennis. I can't remember the damn name of it. It's been so long ago, but it was a weekend run. Was it the Texas shootout? This was like 15 or 20 years ago or longer. And it's a pearl white CUDA, 70 CUDA. But it's rolled and tubbed, and it was not a, you know, like a drivable car on the road. It had a 528 in it at the time. It was equaled out to about a 603. Kent Black built the motor. I did not build that motor. But anyway, it's on YouTube somewhere. He showed it to me years and years and years ago. So, but it's on his account. I can't remember the name that he had on it. I think it was just his name. But anyway, so. But yeah, I should have filmed all that shit back in the day. I saw an old photo, Lynn Holt saying, I saw an old photo like that of a Colt 1911. They had the barrel down the middle, 7 rounds end to end. Yeah. I mean, those guns could handle it back then. Nope, Lynn Holt, I'm not an Olight fan. I will badmouth those with the best of them. And it's just my personal experience. Like I said, I was, you know, way back when, I was, an Olight tester. I don't want to say an influencer, because that's another thing. Even if you go way, way back to when I had the Olight videos, they gave me the discount code and, my little code and all that shit. But until I tested those lights a lot, I would never, ever, ever put up that code. I never made a dime off of Olight, ever. Not a penny. Something about them. And then when I started having the failures, I was like, yep, glad I never did that. His EDC, Armsman, man, you hater. He said his EDC is a Pig Sig 320, P320 with an Olight Balder S and an Olight sight. No. O-sight optic, no. Rich B says, is a 1-7 twist good for an AR pistol in 5.56? Yeah. I mean, it is. I would shoot a heavier grain like a 63 or a 77. Now, 55 is fine, but you probably will get a little more dispersion, because a 55 is really made for a 1-9 twist. But I'd shoot a 63 or 77 grain. I mean, I've got 1-7 and no problems. I would just shoot a heavier grain projectile in 5.56. Rich B. Scott says, Big J, and you can shoot 55 and see how it does, but I wouldn't shoot that for any kind of a defensive round personally. Just a range ammo is fine for practicing. Scott says, Big J, have you seen the new optics setup for CZ? Has where they put the magnifier on the front and the slide of the chamber area? Yes, I have, Scott. I even had some people reach out to me. Triple C did. Some people were sending me pictures. I was like, and I'm not hating, okay, but in my opinion, that's like the dumbest shit, because you've got too much crap on the top of your pistol. For one, you've got the barrel down your pants with the optic on the front, so your holster is going to be this freaking wide. I just, I don't really agree with that, because my optic sticks out of the top of my pants. I don't need a magnifier there and an optic in my pants or in the holster. I don't know. If I need something like that, and that's what I told Triple C when he sent me that, I said, if I need something like that, I'm going to have a freaking rifle or an AR pistol or 300 blackout. And I understand about the magnifying with my vision, that probably wouldn't be bad for like range use, but to carry something like that, I would never consider it. I noticed they had it on a Nocturne Compact, which is basically a P07. And I was just like, what? And plus, the Shield optics, the Shield branded RMSC sucks. That thing's a piece of shit. So I would never carry that optic to begin with. So, and yes, I've tried them in the past. They are pieces of shit. To set the adjustment, it's just a wheelie. You got to put that little stupid adjustment paper on there. It's just dumb as shit. Now, I know they have the bigger window on their newer one, but I still don't trust them. If you drop that thing, it would just fold down like a lawn chair. So I'm not a big proponent of that dot at all. So, yeah, I saw that and I was like, you got to be kidding me. It's just too much shit on a pistol. You add the magnifier, the sight on the front, the flashlight. That's just too much shit. Just carry around a pistol in a bag, or an AR pistol in a bag. Pistol Pete says, I still have an Olight flashlight that I bought years ago. I prefer Streamlight. I still actually have one Olight, and it's that little bitty one, that Balder, or I think it's called a Balder. It's a little bitty one, and that thing still actually works. It's up on my desk somewhere. It's got the little magnet on the back. You can put a battery in it. You don't have to charge it, and that actually still works. And the only thing I use it for is I keep it on my desk, and if I ever need to shine it down when I'm taking a gun apart or something, shine it down on a barrel, or if I'm cleaning out threads for an optic or something that I'm moving to a different gun or whatever, or testing optics, I'll take the Q-tips, because I do keep Q-tips on my desk with alcohol, and I'll clean the threads out. and then I'll shine the light down there to see if I need to get deeper to get some of the Loctite or something out. But that's the only Olight I actually have that still works. So some of them have been thrown away in Ziploc bags because they were in pieces. Oh, and I take that back. I had one in a box that was brand new because when I told Olight to piss up a rope, they had sent one like the week before. It's that little mini that slid back and forth, FDE. They had sent me one, and I gave that to Uncle Dan the last time I saw him. I had just given it to him, brand new in the box. I never even took it out of the box. Rich B said, so if you shoot mostly 55 grain and 5.56, what twist rate for an AR pistol? 1 to 8, 1 to 9 is usually better for lighter grain, but that's also usually with a longer barrel. My 1 and 7, or I think 2 of my 1 and 7s will shoot 55 grain fine. It depends on the barrel. You know, I think one of them is a ballistic advantage barrel, and it is a 1 and 7 twist, and it's pretty accurate for a pistol. It's a 12.5, and it shoots 55 grain fine. So that's why I'm saying you really just need to go and test your gun, your barrel, to know what it likes. So when you go, just get some 55, just get some, you know, I would get a better 55 grain, not a bunch of, you know, bullshit from overseas or whatever. You know, I'd get a reputable 55 grain and, you know, the 63, the 77, and just go out and shoot it and see what you're getting. Because you could have a barrel that likes everything. You know, just usually the like the 1 in 7s, the 1 in 6s, you know, stuff like that, they tend to like a heavier grain normally, but every barrel is going to vary. So that's, Rich, I would say test it. Pranix, supposedly it's real. I thought it was a troll too, but I mean, there's people swearing that sent it to me that it's real. So I don't know. Pistol Pete says, tell us how you really feel. Y'all know I don't lie about stuff. I tell you how I feel. I've got a set of balls on me and I have no problem sharing that. Armsman said, I've got a bunch of Olight, Streamlight, Surefire, and Modlight, Cloud Defensive, and a few Nightcore lights. I've got them all. I have some Nightcore too. I would never, ever, ever recommend a Nightcore pistol light ever in my life. I've tried, I think, 2 of theirs, and they're junk. Their handhelds are nice, but they've got way too many programming bullshit, lockout crap. And I said that in the video. When I tested it, they sent it to me. And I'm like, it's just way too fuckery. Excuse my language. It needs to be simple. You shouldn't have to have a lockout where you've got to go through and hit 18 times to get it to pop back on. That's horseshit. Matter of fact, I have that light. It's super bright. The only thing I do with it is hit the turbo mode, but the rest of the shit, it's locked out. And I don't have the time to read an 18-page manual of how to unlock it. And that's stupid. I don't have that problem with Streamlight, and I don't have that problem with Surefire. So, there you go. I'll tell you how I feel. Olight Baton 1 or 2. Maybe that's what it is. I don't remember the name on it. It's way the hell over there. I can't see it from here, so. But it's the little bitty one. So you're probably right. It's the Baton. Having different grains that work is like ice cream. Love the different flavors. Yeah. Like I said, thank you, DB. I appreciate you, buddy. Take care. It is, you know, like when you take your rifle out, and like I said, if you shoot 55 grain and it's not freaking hole in hole, don't expect that. You know, if it's a decent group, you know, I mean, you got to think about this. At 100 yards, and I know people get wrapped around the axle, on a gas gun, you don't have to have half MOA or 1 MOA. You know, it's not a freaking bolt precision gun or even a high-end precision uh, gas gun. You just want it, you're talking groups like this at 100 yards. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. AKs are worse. So, I've never had a one MOA AK. I've only had 3 AKs in my whole life, but and I don't own any now. But and 300 blackouts are not that accurate. They're not. They are not sub MOA. I mean, you can put really expensive good ammo through them, and you can get some great groups. But mostly, I mean, at 100 yards or hell, even 50 yards, you're getting with basic ammo, not match grade ammo, you're getting 3 to 4 inches at freaking 50 yards. So, I mean, don't have super high expectations. Now, of course, that's just with me shooting. I'm sure somebody could shoot better groups. I'm not a precision shooter. Um, or, I mean, I've shot some good groups, but I mean, don't have that expectation on yourself because as you progress and get more time behind the gun and feel more comfortable with it, you're going to probably be more accurate with it. And then you're going to find out the ammo brand and grain weight that your rifle really, really likes. So I wouldn't get really wrapped around the wheel with a lot of that stuff, honestly. I just go shoot and have a good time. Scott says I've been playing at my local FFL with the Beretta BRX-1 straight pole rifle. It used a multi-lug bolt like an AR. Very freaking nice. That's cool. I haven't played with that one. That's cool. Oh, I did see that one. I did see it. If X-Ring, yeah, I saw his video on that. I do remember now. Yeah, Harry Solster saying most blackouts are 3 MOA guns at best, really 4. Exactly. Don't have high expectations on yourself. I mean, look at the size of a normal human being. If you're shooting groups like that, you're here. I mean, or here, you're going to go for the largest part of the body. So you should be good. I mean, there's been plenty of people taken out with some guy in sandals with a freaking AK. So don't put super high expectations on yourself. You're not running behind a bolt gun, a heavy ass bolt gun, 16-pound bolt gun with freaking bags and all this other shit. Just go out and have a good time. That's the thing. People have such high expectations on themselves and every part of their gear. What I want gear to be super reliable. I want it to be able to shoot pretty much anything, a gamut of ammo. Understand there might be one that runs better than the other as far as particular grains of ammo. But man, I'm kind of over that now. When I was younger, I was like, oh my God, I got to hit a nickel at 100 yards. I mean, and I could shoot better. I mean, I've cut playing cards in half and I have videos on it. You can go to 7 Up, 3 Downs video. And I even have videos on it way back where I took a 22 and was cutting playing cards sideways in half with freaking iron sights. So my vision used to be really, really good and I was very accurate. But that's a long time ago. I mean, that was what, I've been on YouTube for 8 years now, something like that. So in 8 years, a lot can happen with your vision. But yes, I've cut 2 playing cards. One took me 2 rounds, and I cut it sideways, not this way, sideways. And then the other one, I did it on the first shot. So I've got 2 videos where I'm cutting playing cards with a 22 at, I think I was at 7 yards. But it's all on video, so I'm not making this up. But yeah, don't put a lot of, just go out and have fun. And whatever gear you have, as long as it's reliable, you will get better with it the more time you have behind it. Unless it's just a piece of shit. But Harry said, I used to want a 12-inch 300 blackout. Knowing what I know now, 5 to 7.5-inch barrels are the sweet spot for them. A 10.5-inch 5.56 300 yards is no issue. 10-10 300. Yeah, and what I prefer with 300 blackout, just due to my arm length, The shortest I'll go is a 10.5, but I prefer a 12.5 on a 300 blockout. And then on a 5.56, the shortest I would go would be an 11.5 to a 12.5 on a 5.56. I just want more dwell time. But, you know, to each their own. Armsman said, I remember those videos. It's been a long time. Ooh, damn, Ranger, be careful, man. Got a tornado siren going off. Yeah, that was a long time ago, Armsman. But it is 8:14, so we've gone about 14 minutes over. And I really appreciate it. I think this was a fun chat, really fun chat. Harry says, I really like the 11.5 and 12.5 5.56. They're the sweet spot. Yep. I just like it for the arm length. I mean, you know, if I was a shorter guy with shorter arms, I might prefer a 8.5, 9.5, something like that on a 300 blackout. But those are just kind of too short for me. I don't want to be mag holding anything. I like to get a good C-clamp on it. Thank you, Lake Ozark guy. I appreciate it. We got 27 people in the chat and 26 thumbs up. That's awesome. But I appreciate y'all so much. You know, if you need anything from Lock Grips, use my code. It's BJGG10, all capital. BJGG10. That'll save you 10% off Lock Grips. For the Armsman, it is also BJGG10. That'll save you 10% off and free shipping. And then for Impact Machine, if you want to trick out a gun or even just need slide milled for an optic, you can use Impact Machine, and it is BJGG10. That will save you 10% off as well. And a couple of those I don't make a penny off of, but you know, they gave those codes out for y'all to have them. And if you can save some money, save some money. That's what it's all about. But Armsman says, see, being a big guy isn't always a good thing. Yeah, it's not. When you try to find shoes or boots or shirts, you know, sometimes it's not a good thing. But yeah, I appreciate y'all so much. You know, as we're all saying now, or I'm saying now, if you haven't reached out to people that you haven't talked to in a long time, please do. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're thinking about them. You know, like I said, we're all a community here, and I appreciate y'all very much. Y'all, I consider y'all family. Y'all are great. You know, especially during some crappy times that I've had recently. Y'all have been the highlight, so it's always great to come on here and, you know, y'all give me a little up, and hope that I do that for y'all. And, you know, I have a lot of people reach out and comment, so I try to answer every one of them. So if you have any comments after the chat, please list them. You know, if I don't have an answer, or I haven't tried that particular gun or rifle or whatever it might be, you know, I'm always upfront with you. If I haven't tried it, I'm not going to fib to you. I have a feeling some people do that. I don't do that. If I've got experience, I will definitely let y'all know. But I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful evening. And remember, an unarmed nation's a very weak nation. So we all got to carry on. Thanks, everyone. Y'all take care.